Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our small footprint. My name is Nyssa, and if you're new here, we are a family of 8 who live off-grid in Australia. Now, this is my weekly catch-up chat kind of video. I have my what we eat in a week video in progress. I'll put that out tomorrow, but today I thought I'd just do our chat because my schedule is all over the place, which I will discuss as we're going. First of all, to start the video off, we have moved the baby chicks out onto grass during the day. We still bring them inside at night just because of predators and everything else, but for the moment we have them on grass during the day. So I thought I'd give you a look at what we set up so that they could do it. Now, our dogs are pretty well trained, and we've had baby animals and stuff in the yards many times. We also have free-ranging guinea fowl, and sometimes the roosters and stuff get out as well. So whilst we've got them protected, because we'd hate for a dog to get hold of one and decide that it might be a tasty snack, they are in our yard. So let me turn you around and show you. And we have Cyborg, our big teddy bear of a puppy dog, is guarding them, and he actually chases the other dogs away. We haven't decided whether that's because he's sort of, guardian dog-esque and he's looking after them, or if he's decided that they're his snack and they shouldn't be shared. But either way, he's not going to get a hold of them. So let me give you a look at them out on the grass. It's very cute. So we have this tractor here that we got from a friend ages ago. It's really heavy, really hard to move. We actually had to remove some of the poles off the gates to get it through, but we wanted them somewhere nearby for the moment. So we set up the tractor in here, but then we just wanted a second fence so that when we open the tractor and things like that, if a chick got out, that it wasn't going to get out into the yard and things like that. So we have one of the hoop houses that we pulled out of the garden space that is still fairly intact, and we put that over the top of it and just put some Avery mesh around it. It's not attached to anything, it's just rolled around it, and it actually worked out well because the sun was a little harsh out here, so it gave me the ability to put this shade cloth over the top of it and just zip tie it to the sides, giving them a nice shady spot. So we ended up with 9 chicks and a duckling out of this particular lot. We actually have about 24 eggs in the incubator again at the moment, and some duck eggs, which I'll go into a bit more, but we actually have a duck egg that's hatching currently, but they're loving being out on the grass. The one little duckling who we've called Whistler, and all the little chickies that have various names because the kids have named them, but I couldn't tell you what they were. But chasing bugs and teleporting, as we say, they tend to just sort of appear and disappear. Could watch them for hours, to be honest. They're just so cute watching them run around in there. But yeah, so we do have some duck eggs in the incubator. So we have 2 incubators. One is a newer one, one's an older one. The older one has this tendency to overheat when the temperature is up high. Not ideal, but we got given some purebred chicken eggs, very cheap, from a friend, and decided that it would be really nice to hatch them, and there was 36 eggs. So we got both incubators working, but one is a bit temperamental. So we had them both full of chicken eggs. We just split the chicken eggs between the 2. And then we had issues with the ducks. So we had Whistler was an egg that we found out on the ground. He was hatched, he was hatched out on the ground already, no shell and still wet and looked dead. We put him in the incubator so that he could dry off and get warm, and he survived, and he's perfectly healthy. Then I mentioned last time that we had 2 more ducklings that were hatched in the pen, but the mum rejected them. They wandered off to one of the other ducks who wanted nothing to do with them either. So then we decided to bring them inside, but they didn't survive. I have no idea why, whether they had been with mum for that little bit of time and couldn't get the hang of feeding themselves and watering because the mum hadn't shown them, and then they didn't follow the other chick. I don't know, but they both passed away. So then we have gone out to the duck pen and found baby ducks dead in the shell. So they've got their beaks out and that's it, and the mothers have abandoned them because ducks need humidity. All eggs need humidity to hatch, and so little bit of knowledge and a lot of assumption here, but I assume that the egg being underneath the mum is how the humidity stays relevant for them to hatch out, because if you drop the humidity too quickly with a hatching egg, the membrane inside the egg will shrink wrap the chick, and the chick will die because it can't get out of the egg, and the membrane sticks to them. So I'm assuming that they started hatching, didn't hatch quick enough for the mum, and the mum tossed the egg out, and then the babies died. So we went out and found one, and then the next day I went out and I found two more, which is just horrible. So we took all the eggs off all the ducks and decided that if they can't hatch them, then we just won't let them nest, and brought them inside. Now the problem is I candled them all, and any that had movement in them I put them in the incubator, but they were all different points, and because ducks take 28 days to incubate, and I have no idea, I haven't hatched ducks before, so I don't really know how full the egg should be for each phase of the development, not like I do with chickens. Then we stuck them in the incubator and just didn't know. So we moved all the chicken eggs to one incubator because we discarded, there was 9 that were duds, so we discarded that and we could fit all of them into the one incubator, and then put the duck eggs into the other incubator so that they wouldn't risk the chicken hatch rate. But then the problem is there's an auto rolling machine, so it's got these little barriers in it that turn the eggs, and one started hatching this morning and the rails are still in there, which is unfortunate because it stops the duckling from being able to move the egg around, which it would do to assist itself with hatching. But you cannot open the incubator once a egg has started opening because of the whole humidity thing. So we're keeping an eye on it, hoping that he's gonna hatch. He's got 2 big holes in it, and hopefully he can get out in the limited space that he's got. And once he's out of the egg, we can open it up and pull that rail out, and he can have more space to dry off while he's in there. So we will see. But there is 6 duck eggs, I think, in that incubator, so we will see if we get any of them surviving. I don't know, but we couldn't not try, which pros and cons, because, you know, yes, we might get some ducklings out of it, but we also might get a whole lot of dead babies and not be able to do anything about it, which is a little bit frustrating. So anyway, that's the update on the ducks and the chickens. I will walk you out and show you, we got a big bale of hay the other day to bed down the pens because we've had a whole lot of rain and storms. We had an incident with it, mind you. It's one of those really big round bales, and Darryl tried to drive down the side of the house towards where the chook pens are so that we could unload it easily, and the car got bogged because of all the rain. So we managed to get the car out, and that's fine, and then we just had to wheelbarrow it down there, and that's fine. It's doable. It would be really nice to get a quad or a side-by-side or something at some point, but for the moment we do it all by hand. So we bedded them up, and that was great, and I'll give you a look. I'll walk out the back. I just wanted to show you some plants first, and I'm standing at the plants, so I probably should have started with that, but this is how my chat videos go, as you'll know if you watched them before. Tangent, you know, that whole squirrel thing. So we did that. Then we had another incident, which is partly why I'm so behind on everything. Darryl went into town, and on his way back up the driveway, the car slid sideways off the side of the driveway and hit this massive mud slick. It must have been a low point in the driveway, and the water table's really high, so the car just sunk straight in. I'll try and put some photos in here for you to have a look. And we had friends who came and gave us a hand trying to pull it out with their 4-wheel drive, and no luck, and then they brought the tractor around to give a go at lifting it up a little bit. Unfortunately, because the ground was so bad, the tractor sunk as well, so then we had to work at getting that out. We got that out, but it was too far away to try and pull the car out from like where we had to park the tractor to be safe, so that didn't work either. So then for the next 2 days, Darryl spent time going out to the driveway every, I think, 3 times a day and digging out what he could, because it was just filling up with what looked like quicksand. It was slop, it was water. We couldn't get anything under the tires, couldn't get any logs into the into the traction of the tires, because the water, everything floated, nothing would jam in there. So he spent that time, sorry, mosquitoes are horrible today. I should have sprayed myself before I came out. So he dug out and dug out and dug out, and we did it in phases. We stuffed some straw, some hay in the bottom to try and soak up some of that water, and then we put some wood chips in there to try and soak up some water as well and to create a bit more traction. And eventually we cleared enough space that we could get logs in above the wood chips but underneath the tyre, so that the tyres would have something to grip onto to drive out. And we decided to go forward rather than backwards because the diff was sitting on the dirt in the back, so we didn't want to risk damage there. Anyway, it took one of the kids standing in the back of the tray and bouncing, and me pushing from the back on the other corner, and Darryl revving the engine, and eventually we got it out. But it was a couple of days process, so that's been ongoing over the last couple of days to do with that. So then I came out to the greenhouse the other day. I put a photo up on Instagram, and this little greenhouse was only supposed to be temporary, and that was fine. I think it was $100, and I decided I was going to spend that, and it was going to be my greenhouse just for this year, because we didn't get the window greenhouse built. It's proven to be a pain. It gets too hot in there and there's no ventilation, so things were damping off. Nothing seemed to be growing particularly well, and I think that was partly because it was too hot, not enough sunlight, not enough ventilation. Anyway, I came out the other day, and I'll put a photo up. One of the shelves had completely fallen off, and I'd lost a whole lot of seedlings on the ground that I couldn't save. So that was superb. So then we have some star pickets in it to try and give it support, and we thought about putting star pickets in a couple of extra other places to see if that would help, but I was hesitant to do that and risk something falling over again and losing even more again. So I decided to empty the greenhouse out and put everything on shelves. Let me just turn you around for a sec. So this is where it just popped out. Darryl's electrical taped it back up, but I just didn't trust it because the whole thing fell off and I lost seedlings all over the ground. So we're just going to clean up. All these seedling mats and everything will be put away for next year now, but it's really unstable, which I knew they're not particularly stable, but we do have cable tied star pickets in spots and things like that, and I don't know, it didn't work. So what I decided to do was pull everything out and put it on some shelves. So I managed to clear one of my pantry shelves off because it's the end of the shopping month, so it was easy enough to find spots for everything. And put it out here to put seedlings on. So I'll turn you around. So this is what I did. I pulled the shelving out, and this is one of the small greenhouse shelves as well, and have put it all out here near my potting table. Let me just back up so you can see here, so I can work and put it there. Now, that's fine. I'm a bit concerned about birds and grasshoppers and things like that. What will be will be, but the other thing is that we're forecast for a big storm Monday night, so this can't stay out here for that evening, obviously, or I'll just lose everything. So I've got stuff spread everywhere at the moment. I'm still working on potting up my tomatoes and things like that, and I put some of my zucchini in bigger pots to free up the smaller pots because I can't get them in the ground at the moment. So we've got smaller pots available for tomatoes, these smaller ones for the tomatoes that fit nicely in these trays, so I can bottom water them from the trays and things like that. So I'm still working on all of that, but yeah, we're getting a storm. So we're probably going to have to clear the shelves off. And then this structure behind the potting table was the old hothouse that we pulled apart because we weren't going to use this year. So it's got no walls on either side at the moment. And it never worked very well as a hothouse because it was too tall. It just didn't hold heat. But also the greenhouse plastic that we used for part of it, it's all worn away. So we decided not to redo this summer because we were going to do the window one. We never got to the window one, which we shouldn't have pulled this one apart. Anyway, hindsight, all that sort of thing. So we're going to have to move them in here. Now, the biggest problem with in here is that when I was trying to do seedlings during winter and stuff, was that the mice were getting them all. So I don't know, but the mice haven't eaten the stuff that's in here at the moment, so I don't know, but it only has to be for 24 hours. It's supposed to storm Monday night and be clear again by Tuesday afternoon, so we may have to just move them all in here for 24 hours and cross our fingers that they work and it survives. So there's that. What else did I want to share? We have the potatoes are going fantastically. We bedded them back up with some more straw, and they're all growing through again. We just put straw over the top personally, and then the rain, the weather, whatever, tends to push it down and they come through. So we're pretty nonplussed about it. There is a lot of damage on the leaves at the moment, lots of little holes on the leaves. So I may need to spray something in here for that, some eco oil or something. I haven't seen what's doing it though. I haven't found the bugs that are doing it. And I haven't checked any of the tubers yet either, because there won't really be much there to check to see if there's any damage happening to them. But let me turn you around and show you the beds. So this is the beds. They're doing really well, as has been. I need to get that soil bag that's floated in there. As has been, the back row is doing really well. And I think I ended up looking them up and they were spunter potatoes. And these ones were maybe royal blue, maybe blue skinned, white or red skinned. And then we had some of the grocery store potatoes and stuff too. But we do have a lot of, actually I've just seen the bugs. I think it's flea beetles, which is unfortunate because I have not really found anything that works for flea beetles, but that's what it looks like on here. And they're doing quite a bit of damage, but at the same time the plants are big enough that they're tolerating it. Flea beetles, when I've had them before, the biggest issue we had, things like radishes and that, they would consume everything and you wouldn't get any radishes because all the leaves were gone. But they are doing a lot of damage, so I might try spraying some eco oil or maybe a molasses spray. Maybe I'll have to have a look. I can't remember what we were using for the radishes in that last time, but yes, there's a lot of leaf damage, so that's not superb, but they're also doing really well. So because they're larger plants, it's not going to be as big an issue. Let me get this bag out from in here. But yes, a lot of leaf damage, so we shall see whether I need to spray them or not, but otherwise they're doing well. I did resort to some snail pellets in the main garden. There was discussion of putting chickens out here and things like that, but then with the storms, the having to catch them to put them back, and a lot of discussion, we decided that it wasn't really something we wanted to do right now. So I did resort to the snail pellets. Now I did order a specific one that someone told me, but Darryl got some from town as well that are slightly different. I don't know exactly how good they are, but needed to do something. So I did that, and it does seem to have reduced the population a little bit. I don't know whether it's enough, but I do have some asparagus that's coming through that isn't covered in the slaters, so that's a good sign that it's doing something. So I've actually got tips coming through the soil rather than them being eaten off as soon as they hit above the soil. So let me show you it. So what was happening was, as soon as the tips broke the, I'm going to focus, as soon as these tips broke the surface, they would be just covered in the slaters, and you wouldn't get, they wouldn't come through, they wouldn't grow any. And then I was having them all sort of chewing through the bases of everything too. But we've got a couple of spears here that will be harvestable, and that one coming up there and being fine. And I did notice that there was a whole lot in here too. These ones are a bit small, so we might not pick these ones, but there's 3 in there, 4 in there that are coming up. There's one there that came up, bent over. All these plants fell over. I really need to get some sort of a trellising system or something. This one didn't come back very well this year, this particular crown, but there was a spear in here that got consumed straight away, so we might get more, but there's still a few of the roly-poly slaters in here, so quite a few in this section actually. I might need to put some more bait in this bit here. So I don't know. The other thing was so they ate all my cucumbers, all of them got eaten, all gone, but I had direct sowed some beans and most of them were getting eaten the second they came up too. See, they were just being chewed off. But since putting the pellets down, I've got a few that are actually leafing up. So maybe it's enough to have gotten, and I'll just have to come in and plant some more, because you can see like this one here got chewed off as soon as it popped up. So there was a lot more than this one here's gone as well. That one, and that one's gone here as well. Just the tops just chewed off as soon as they came through. These two here. So I don't know, I'm going to keep an eye on it, and if it looks like the population has decreased, I will plant some more. I have plenty of bean seeds because they're easy to keep, aren't they? So, you know, the other thing was the zucchini. So out of all the zucchini plants, only one is alive. That one there. So I have to replant, but I'm hesitant to do it because of what's going on. So most of my beetroot got eaten as well eventually. I have no idea what this is that's just popped up here. I'll have to wait till I see its true leaves. Don't know what that is. Obviously it was mixed in the soil, but most of the beetroot has been chewed off as well. I haven't mulched this bed either, which isn't going to help because the soil on top is a bit dry at the moment, but we have had plenty of rain. This bed over here of beetroot though is doing well. No slaters in this bed at all. So I'm guessing it wasn't in the soil I bought because this had fresh soil in it too. Don't know. This one needs some water as well. My onion flowers are looking lovely. Really pretty. So nice. So hopefully I can figure out how to save seeds from those. And I did notice that I have escape coming up on my, excuse the mess here, this is the corner we're still working on. Escape coming up on my garlic. So most of my garlic has not made it, and this was actually last year's garlic, to be honest. It was something that got left on the ground, in the ground, and I have never managed to get escape before on my garlic. Garlic has not been anything I have successfully grown. Small heads, like I have grown garlic and I've used the garlic, but nothing overly successful. Obviously I was using that as a mini greenhouse at some point, but that will be my first of escape, which is, you know, cool. I get to try one, but one's not going to get me very far. But it doesn't look like any of the others have sent up. That one maybe got one in the middle there, flower stems, but we will see. That will be neat anyway. Other than that, the garden is still just in progress because it hasn't, look at this great big clump of grass that I have to try and dig out. I have no idea how to get that out. And we've had some grass pop up in here, I just noticed, which is not good. So obviously I missed that somehow. I also had hoped that my pineapple sage would come back, but that's it in the corner there and it doesn't seem to be coming back. I really thought it would, but oh well. Something's eating my marshmallows again, which I think is flea beetles as well, generally speaking. Yeah, look, flea beetles in there too. Now, I don't normally worry too much about the marshmallow because I honestly don't use it as much as I should. So at least if the flea beetles are on there, they're not on something more important, but at the same time they're multiplying on there, aren't they? So got some of the yarrow flowering, which is lovely, and my lemon balm has just taken off, so I need to harvest some of that. I have some lovely kale here underneath these covers that haven't been covered properly. Someone obviously didn't pull the cover down on that, so probably has some cabbage moth in there, which is unfortunate. And I have this gorgeous, look at this, I haven't checked on this in a while, but it's got some bug damage on it, but that is pretty much ready. I should probably harvest that one. That one is gorgeous, so that's really nice. And I've got, look at that sugarloaf coming up there too, which is wonderful. But that's it. I only have those 3 cabbages out of all the seedlings that I started in autumn, unfortunately. Anyway, anything else for the garden? The lavender and the rosemary badly need severe pruning, and I've been really slack because every time I come out here I tend to forget that to bring my snips, but you know. And the sage is flowering too, which is lovely. In here, mosquitoes are horrific, but I think that's about it. Oh, I did discover I had this plant come up in the garden, and I had thought, oh look, radish there, I'll take that in for Darryl, he loves radishes. I did have this plant, I thought there was some borage in this garden bed, and I had just assumed it was borage because I hadn't really looked too closely. And then it started getting taller and taller and taller, and the flowers are pink. And I went, that's definitely not borage. So we have this gorgeous hollyhock here. There's a flower, it's a pink one over here. Oh, there, pretty pink flower. I've been wandering all over the place. This video when I watch is probably gonna be so jumpy, but anyway, gorgeous hollyhock coming up in there, so I'm gonna leave that go. Some garlic chives that survived in there as well. Some really pretty variegated apple mint. I've got some comfrey, plantain, some chamomile that I need to harvest the flowers of. Again, I do that every couple of days. So, and I've got some coriander that I'm waiting to go to seed so I can harvest the seed. So whilst things aren't working real well, we still have some progress. Now, was there anything else that I needed to update on? Because, you know, by the time I get to this point of the video, I've basically forgotten what I've talked about. Mosquito on my hand. I was going to show you the chicken pens. So I'll walk around there and show you that. But this video is probably going to be really wobbly and long-winded again. But we have discussed that my catch-up videos tend to be a bit like that. So let me walk you around to the chicken pen to show you that all nicely bedded up, because it looks really good and the chickens really enjoy it. We still need to build some more shelters for in there. They don't have enough at the moment, as we've discovered whenever it rains too much. We need to have some that are up off the ground maybe, so that they have some platforms. The grey water system had to be put on hold because the hole flooded from the rain as well, so it's still in progress. We are waiting for my new float to turn up so that it can auto empty the reservoir. So I've been taking some video of that as we do it, and I will share it all at once when we get it finished and working. At the moment it hasn't been a huge need because we've had so much rain. So but the path to the chicken pen is very sludgy as well. Let me turn you around. So all the chicken pens are full of straw at the moment, which is really nice. They're hanging around like they haven't been fed, but of course they have been. It's just that I'm out here. So, but they've all got, oi, chicken! All got lots of fresh straw. We're still working on the watering systems. Some of them prefer the pipes, some of them don't. We're still working on making sure they don't leak, but we're using the tanks regardless to fill water containers if needed, and that way we can put some apple cider vinegar in the big tanks and they have apple cider vinegar water to refill the waterers. And then the duckies also have lots of fresh hay. So all the chicken pens are nicely bedded down again. So I think that's it for today, for this week. Otherwise, other updates, people should be starting to receive their seeds shortly, this week probably. We're going to try and drive into town on Monday before we get the rain, but we'll have to see, we'll have to assess the, mosquitoes are horrible, have to assess the driveway when we do it. Otherwise it will be later in the week, depending on weather and everything else. So we will see, but everyone should start receiving them soon. Other than that, I've got some cooking videos still to come that I'm editing up. I got my new mincer, which I used the other day to mince some pork, and I really like it, so I'm going to put a video up on that, and I have an affiliate code for that as well in case anyone's looking for one. What else? I think that's it for today that I can think of. So thank you for joining me on my rambling walk around the property and the, you know, updates of stuff that you probably don't want to know. And I will see you again probably tomorrow. Thanks guys. See you later.